1-2, 1-2. Well, Mark, first and foremost, Oldham was a big test for your side. How do you reflect on that 14th win of the season?
Yeah, I thought it was a real tough game. Obviously, two quality teams. I thought we started better than Oldham. I thought we really got a foothold in, but then, you know, Oldham showed exactly why they're sat where they are in the table and fought back control. You know, especially at the start of that second half, fought for 20-25 minutes. They were on the ascendancy, and you know, I thought we showed great character to wrestle back that control and you know, obviously see the game out in the end, but. I'm sure if you were neutral, it'd have been an excellent game to watch. But yeah, over the moon with our team. You know, I thought we showed loads of determination, and loads of desire. And you know, as a coach, that makes you very proud of a performance like that.
Being able to win in different ways, do you think that stands you in good stead for the end of the season when maybe you're going to be in a bit more tight games, you're not going to have these big leads, or you're going to have teams coming back at you? It's different challenges for your side.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's all about, if I'm honest with you. It's just finding a way to get over the line. It'd be nice to say that, you know, every game's you're gonna go out and exactly what you've worked on in the training field's gonna come off, but naturally teams try counter what you do and vice versa, and sometimes you just got to roll your sleeves up and find a way to get the job done, and we definitely did that on Sunday. You know, obviously with Liam missing and Atta and Cookie, it were a different dynamic for us, so I think you've got to give massive raps to the lads that stepped up for them positions. You know, obviously there's a load we can get after and work on that we need to polish up moving forward if we do go with them combos. But you know, ultimately you can't quantify that sort of desire that the group showed. And you know, as a coach, that's probably the most pleasing thing. Just is how connected people are and how there's no victim mentality. Everyone just tries finding a way instead of finding an excuse. So just, yeah, we're just going to keep it going now and not get too carried away with, you know, all the headlines and all the jazz like that.
There's not too much you can affect as a head coach once you send them out there, but one thing you can change is your interchanges, and you brought Taylor Pemberton on and then switched Paul McShane to the halves as well. How pleased were you with the way that kind of paid off for you in the end?
Yeah, obviously, when you get it right like that, naturally everyone's like, what a coaching masterstroke it was. There's a lot of times you don't get it right. We were obviously not too happy with one or two things that we needed to fix up. It's never personal, it's always professional, and you go off, you know, the pieces that you've got available to you to, you know, who you think is going to get them best outcomes. So obviously moving Macca to 7, it was more just to focus on one particular aspect we felt we needed to tidy up, and you know, we knew Taylor would have a good 10-20 minute spell in him, and probably no more due to the amount of time he's had off and you know, rushing him back a bit. So yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do at the time, and luckily for me it came off, didn't it?
And I'm assuming Taylor came through that okay, no adverse effects from coming back a week or so early?
No, he's fine. Yeah, he's fine. Lungs will be a lot better for it too, so yeah, all being well, Taylor got through that. He trained last night fully, and you know, as long as there's no hiccups on Thursday or Friday, he should be fine and in contention for Sunday.
Now moves you 2 points clear at the top of the table, ahead of Toulouse, who have obviously got game in hand, and Bradford. Yeah. How important is that, not only in terms of the points, but also mentally as well, to have that gap over the teams chasing you?
Yeah, well, I'll let you guys write headlines on that. I just, every single game that's coming up now is going to present a different sort of challenge for all teams, not just us. But you know, we're obviously going into a game on Sunday where we're going to be heavy favourites, and that brings a new challenge in itself. So it's really important you just keep a nice level head. I know it's really boring for you guys in the press and probably people reading or listening, and you know, for us it's just preparing for the game at hand, and you know, not getting too high thinking that with this and that, and not, you know, at the same time not getting too low and worrying too much about, you know, what's to come. It's just about living in the moment, making sure you nail whatever it is you're going after that week, and ultimately getting them 2 points, because that's all that matters at this stage of the season, is getting the performances and getting the points on the board.
How do you make sure the squad stay grounded and don't get too carried away? Obviously 5 games to go, you're in pole position and look, obviously favourites for the league championship leaders shield. But how do you make sure the group don't get too carried away or take their eye off the ball?
Yeah, we've got a really honest group. Obviously when we do review his own performances, whether that's training or games. You know, they are brutally honest, and if I'm perfectly blunt with you, there's still loads more that we can get better at. And you know, we've got high standards that we want to achieve, and as a group, collectively, we don't feel we're anywhere near the potential that we could achieve as a group. So that's what we keep on chasing every week. But you know, people say we're favourites. You know, you could argue 3 or 4 other teams could say they are too. You know, obviously Toulouse are equal on points, or was equal on points. They've got a game in hand. You know, so they'll rightly so be saying, well, what about us? You know, Bradford's obviously sneaking right up there. Oldham's still right in the mix, and I think Featherstone's gone under the radar really nicely over the last few weeks, but they're on a, you know, they're probably showing their quality too now that everyone knew they had. Now they're getting a more settled spine, and Cookie's got his feet firmly under the table. And then you look under them teams, Doncaster's, you know, really making a late play for it all. And then, you know, Widnes, London's obviously loads to play for, and they're on a bit of a resurgency. And there's so many different battles going on in the Championship, and I think it's a fantastic league for a neutral supporter. From me personally, yeah, I'm just worried about Hunslet on Sunday. I don't really look any further than that.
You brought in a new signing this week. Yeah. Harry Fraser joined initially until the end of the season, but you brought him in a little bit early. Tell us a bit about Harry. Yeah,
so Clint put him on my radar about 2-3 months ago, mainly as a signing for next year. And you know, obviously when we got a couple of injuries, Clint said there were an opportunity to bring him over a little bit early, just so that we can get some eyes on him until the end of the year. Seems like a fantastic kid. Obviously, you know, he gives us that depth at the hooker and half in case we do need it. And like anyone, he'll come into the squad and he'll have to fight for his place. But seems a champion kid. I'm sure, you know, the press will get the teeth into him at some point, and you'll be able to interview him. But yeah, seems like a lovely kid that'll fit in nicely.
Yeah, still a young kid as well, but he's come from, you know, a good programme, obviously with the Northern Hawks, who are a feeder club for the Newcastle Knights in the NRL. He seems like he's got a lot of sort of raw talent and that sort of thing. I'm guessing the temptation is to maybe not throw him in this week, or what are your thoughts on that?
No, he won't be playing this week. You know, he'll have to earn his shirt like all of them. So he'll be... yeah, he'll be in contention after this week for sure. He trained last night. We've just been a bit smart. He's just come back from a broken hand. You know, so I think he's missed last two and a half months. So he's fully fit. But naturally, you just want to be a bit cautious with players when you first get your hands on them. So he seems like a lovely lad. Obviously, for his size, he can defend pretty tough, and you know, he looked pretty sharp ball in hand as well. So. Looking forward to working with him, I really am.
And obviously you've got a bit of a dilemma in the halves. No Liam Harris at the moment, no Atta Garno. What's the latest on them two and their route back? Yeah,
Atta's back fit, so he'll be back in contention for Sunday. Liam's got a specialist appointment today, I believe. He's back straight line running. He was sprinting last night. It's just a case now we're obviously letting his injury heal. Until we start doing some change of direction and that, and we'll be at the medical team's mercy, I suppose, at that. But Liam's keen to get back. If I'm honest with you, I'd probably say back end of this month would be a more realistic target for him.
Yeah, and obviously you have got options at the moment at the hooker position, but what's the latest on Sam Cook?
Cookie's got his MCL, so he's looking probably mid-September. Around there, you're talking about another 4 to 6 weeks there. So again, he's just on the more watt bike side of things, just getting some load into him. But yeah, you can't mess around with them sort of injuries. So you're talking probably 4 to 6 weeks there.
Yeah. We talked about it being a tough test, Oldham, tough physical test as well. Some knocks and bumps. I know Jesse D was sort of limped off the field. Are there any concerns coming out of Sunday?
Yeah, Jesse D obviously got a dead leg. That's settling right down there. Kieran Hudson had delayed concussion. I initially thought it was his hamstring. but the medical team, obviously, you can't take any chances there. They're saying that he failed his head test, so he won't be in contention for this week. And then apart from that, I think we've just got a load of sore bodies, as you'd expect. I thought Oldham were really physical and, really gave it to us. So, we nursed everyone back to health on Tuesday, as we always do. And, we'll be getting after Hunslet on Thursday at training and going as hard as we can with what we've got available to us.
I know the last time you played Hunslet, you used it as an opportunity to rest and rotate some players. Is this a game where potentially Harvey Reynolds and maybe Bailey Andrews gets an introduction off the bench potentially?
No, Bailey will be playing up at Newcastle this week. I think it'd be pretty disrespectful to the team just to throw Bailey back in. So Bailey will play up at Newcastle just to make sure he's happy with everything and we're happy with everything. So that'll be a good boost for him after going through a lengthy injury process, and it'll be a good boost hopefully for Newcastle getting a player like Bailey to be playing there. And then what was the second part of your question? And Harvey Reynolds, Harvey's been a bit unlucky in a couple of games because I think he's a fantastic player, but he's in contention for sure. But we definitely won't be disrespecting Hunslet. I thought the push Doncaster all the way on Sunday, and I think Kyle obviously getting his teeth into the role now, and he'll be wanting to make a statement by knocking us off his perch. So we won't be resting and rotating anyone. We'll be going as strong as we can, and I think it's too tough a game to be having that luxury of resting players, especially at this stage of the year. Anyone that's fit and available and deserves to be in our starting 17 will be in that starting 17. Simple as that.
Yeah, you mentioned Carl Trout, who's come in as the new head coach since you last faced them. Did your paths cross when he was on loan from Wakefield at Batley?
I played with Kyle back then. You're right. He prides himself on his fitness, does Kyle, and very dedicated individual. So. We'll be expecting a tough test. It's never an easy place to go either. It's South Leeds Stadium. Not sure on what the weather's going to be either, which can also provide a different dynamic. With it being so open-aired, and it's one we're looking forward to. Again, a different sort of challenge, and if you want to achieve the goals we want to achieve, you've got to make sure you show up in them sort of games. Simple as that.
You've talked about, obviously, the change. They look at a slightly different side under Kyle. What are some of the things that you've identified, the differences under the new sort of regime?
There's loads, and I thought Dean were doing a great job under difficult circumstances, if I'm honest. I've been in similar shoes to both of them at the previous roles, and it's always tough. But one thing I know you'll get from Hunslet is they'll be wanting to cause an upset, and they'll have their own personal pride, and we definitely aren't going into the game thinking that we can go dipping as toe, because we'll end up getting embarrassed. So we'll be preparing accordingly, and tactically we'll have a good look at them and where we feel they're going to challenge us and where we can challenge them, and then go full steam ahead on that.
And looking back at that match last time out, the 58-8 win, I know, speaking to you after the game, you were disappointed that they actually got on the board at all. I think looking back at that, is that the goal this time around, to keep the defence stronger and potentially keep them off the board? Well,
the goal's always that. It never works how you want. Excuse me. I think Hunslet, that game offered some really good shape, and I think the scoreline obviously blew out a little bit in the end, but it's definitely not going to be as easy as a scoreline like that suggests. I think it's going to be a real physical affair, and one that we're going to have to make sure that we're prepared for accordingly, and mentally too. We've got to make sure that we've got that edge about us, because they're dangerous games to be involved in, where every man and his dog's saying that your favourites to win. And I do get it. You've got top of league versus bottom of the league, but naturally it presents its own challenge in that sense as well.
And I think Paul Vaughan was in watching on Sunday. What did he make of the game? Was it good to have him around the group at least for a little bit?
Yeah, he wasn't around the group as such, inside. He's a Warrington player still. you know, obviously Warrington played in that great game versus Leigh the night before, so a couple of nights before. He just came down to get a taste of the atmosphere with his family. You know, by all accounts, him and his family loved it. I think he were a bit taken aback by how noisy, you know, the York fans are. Yeah, from all accounts, from you know, the message that I exchanged with him, he absolutely loved it. But you know, at the same time, you know, he's still a Warrington player at the moment, and they've got their own goals and ambitions there going after this year. So I don't really want to chat too much on a player contracted to another club at the moment.
Yeah, just one other, and you're going to be linked with Super League players at the moment as well. You've been linked with Regan Grace from St Helens. Is there anything you can tell us about that? No, nothing official. I know he was at the game on Sunday, so naturally players are going to put 2 and 2 together. And I know a lot of players were saying, I feel we're at the game on Sunday. I can definitely tell you that one's not happening because he's good mates with Jesse D, and I think he was just coming to support his mate, you know, who were obviously captain, so I better quash that at him before you know, Clint has anything to do with there. But you know, we're an ambitious club, and Clint does a fantastic job in making it so I don't have to stress too much about recruitment. Obviously, I'm savvy to conversations that are happening. As you can imagine, I'll keep them between myself and Clint. And I'm sure when Clint's got announcements to make, you know, they'll get announced. Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you.